Hello everybody. So since I have been going over things like Werewolf Companion build, I figured I'd just go ahead and show you the kind of standard, or I don't know if you could say meta. I don't know if it's meta, but it's kind of the standard way people are just playing a full-on shred werewolf shred without companions or anything like that. Well, I say without companions, but really any shred build is going to actually be a companion build, except for it's just going to run Poison Creeper, because Poison Creeper is just an insane steroid for your shred because of legendaries. So let's go ahead and jump into that, and I will show you what I mean. So first off, we're going to use Aspect of Mending Stone. Duration of Earthen Bulwark is increased by 6 seconds. On your helmet for secondary stats, you're going to want Ranks into Poison Creeper, you're going to want Max Life, Armor, and CDR is probably going to be best. On the chest piece, you're going to want Aspect of Disobedience, so you gain stacking armor. That increases up to 35%. The reason why you run this is because this is the most broken defensive in the game. There are other combinations you can run, but once you start pushing into higher nightmare tiers, Aspect of Disobedience kinda just takes over everything. And the reason why is because if you look at your armor, it says non-physical damage is taken is reduced according to your armor contribution. So this is not just increasing your armor like it did in Diablo 3, it's also increasing all of your non-physical resistances as well. So this makes it the most, just one of the most broken aspects you can get. Because I mean, this goes all the way up to 50%, so increasing your armor by 50% is just astronomically massive. That being said, for secondary stats, you want damage reduction from enemies that are poisoned, or damage reduction from enemies that are fortified. Then you want damage reduction from distant enemies, damage reduction from close enemies, and companion skill damage. Now the reason why you want companion skill damage is because that's going to buff up your Poison Creeper. Next, we're going to go next we're going to go aspect of Stormclaw's aspect. Jeez. Critical strikes with Shred deal 30% of the damage dealt as lightning to the target and surrounding enemies. So you're going to see, especially if you're looking at like the gameplay and stuff, that you're going to crit really huge. Like, this build has the potential to just absolutely one-shot elites. It chunks bosses. It is just kind of insane in general, right? So that 30% is going to be a huge number that it's then going to do in an AoE that's going to hit everything. So it's a pretty solid legendary, but only if you're going full on into Shred. You're going to want attack speed, lucky hit chance, ranks into Shred, and critical strike chance. The reason why we want lucky hit chance is to increase the odds that this 20% gets hit. So I don't want to explain the math behind lucky hit chance because it's a little complicated, but that lucky hit that you see when it says like a 20% chance to reset the cooldowns of skills is not 100% accurate, right? So, because like on your skills, you have a lucky hit chance, right? And it says 34%. So you essentially take the lucky hit chance here, and you multiply it by the lucky chance here, or lucky hit chance here, and that'll give you what your actual, your actual number is. So it's going to be smaller. So when you are able to increase your lucky hit chance, you're actually getting closer to the full value of the 20% than what you normally would be. And skills have varying degrees of lucky hit chance. So 34%, 31%, 22, 28, 22. So, alright. Moving right along, we're going to go Temerity. The reason why we're going to go Temerity is because we're also going to be going Bloodhowl. And when you have Temerity, you can actually use Bloodhowl at full health without and actually get value, because effects that heal you beyond 100% life then become a barrier. And what this does, giving us access to a barrier, is then going to make it to where you can run things like Conceited Aspect. So it says, deal X amount increased damage if you have a barrier and stuff like that. So it's pretty solid. I'm not actually the biggest recommender of Temerity, but for this build, I think it's pretty good. But for other builds, I think just using a regular set of pants so you can get these secondary damage reducers and stuff is better. Okay. Next up, we have Eluding Adventurer's Boots. Becoming injured while crowd controlled grants you unstoppable for 4 seconds. This effect has a 40-second cooldown. Another option you can go here is Debilitating Roar, and you can turn Debilitating Roar into a werewolf skill with and the aspect you can put here. I go dodge chance, spirit cost reduction, dexterity, and damage reduction. I actually would like to re-roll the spirit cost reduction to movement speed because I think the movement speed is pretty good. And then evades grants 70% movement speed for 1 second because I like movement speed. Next, we're going to move on to the weapon. So this is going to be your main steroid. While dashing, Shred seeks out nearby poisoned enemies, instantly dealing 162% of the poison damage to them. So with the way this reads, if I'm understanding this correctly, this really is a 62% damage increase to your poison creeper damage, right? And then it's going to then get added into your shred damage. This is why your shred is going to be doing so much damage, is because you're essentially making your poison creeper damage part of your shred damage on top of multiplying, with the crits and stuff like that. So all of a sudden your shred's going to just start hitting just in the multi-millions, especially if you're a high level. I think the highest crit that I have done with this build so far, and this is like everything lining up good, was like 7.5 million. It was something stupid crazy like that. I've definitely one-shot a few things that I would definitely not expect that I could have even been possible to one-shot. So for the secondary stats, you want an axe because you want the damage to healthy enemies, because this is really kind of a one-shot build. So when you have the increased damage to healthy enemies, it's going to increase the odds that you are actually able to one-shot things. You're not always going to one-shot things, but having damage to healthy enemies is going to be better. If you want more consistent damage, though, you can run a staff, but I recommend healthy enemies because I think once you get everything stacked up, it really helps to have the healthy enemies. Next, we're going to want percent damage over time. We actually don't necessarily want damage to poisoned enemies or damage to crowd-controlled enemies. Better stats would actually be critical strike damage with werewolf skills, or just regular critical strike damage, and then vulnerability damage. Because we do have access to vulnerable, and vulnerability rolls really, really high. So I think it's up to like 70% or something like that. So vulnerability rolls really, really high on these, so that's why I personally recommend it, mainly just because it's just kind of higher than other stats. But that being said, conceited necklace, deal 35% increased damage while you have a barrier. So on the secondary in this, you're going to want ranks into Call of the Wild passive, because that's going to increase your poison creeper damage. You're going to want ranks of companion skills, because that's going to increase your poison creeper damage. You're going to want werewolf skill damage is fine, but really what you want is critical strike chance and then companion skill damage. And I think that would really be, kind of like the GG necklaces if you were able to get those 4 stats. However, getting a necklace is extremely hard, so this is the best I have been able to find so far, and it's done me pretty good. Next, we got Aspect of Retaliation. Your core skills deal up to 38% increased damage based on your amount of Fortify. I do have things like Earthen Bulwark and my passives of ways of getting fortified, so you'd actually be surprised. You actually get fortified pretty decently well with this build. However, you could switch this out, and I have seen some people do this for the Blood Howl aspect, because it'll give you 10% crit, and it also makes it to where your heal affects other people. So if you were running werewolves, for example, it would heal your werewolves, and if you were running this alongside just your friend, you'd actually be able to heal your friend as well. So it's not too bad. And then we got gain 1 additional companion. In addition, your companion skills deal 13% bonus damage. Now I actually like this because it gives you 2 poison creepers. So, and I think that helps with your consistent damage a decent amount, because you'll notice that things will get poisoned more with the passive, and even that passive poison damage still stacks up pretty good for dealing damage, even if you don't have your poison creeper up. And it also is another multiplier for your poison creeper, because that's really kind of the theme here, is we're really looking at just multiplying the poison creeper and your poison damage as much as you can, and then using shred to detonate it. It's almost like you're putting a ticking time bomb on things, and then shred is just detonating the bomb, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and get into Spirit Moons. So I take 10% reduced damage from elites. I take 10% max life. I take 5% increased critical strike chance. I take Pack Leader. This is going to be really important. This is why you also need to stack crit and stuff like that. So like on your rings, for example, critical strike damage, critical strike chance, health, and I think whatever else is probably fine, but I think health, critical strike chance, critical strike damage is like the current meta of what you need on those weapons. I think vulnerable damage is pretty good, but ultimately, just make sure you have crit on your rings. It's pretty important for the pack leader. Then moving on down, we have masochistic. This is going to give you a nice heal with your shape-shifting skills, and this is going to combo really well with temerity. So we don't run an ultimate, so we don't really need combo for the storm or anything like that. You know, we're not doing earth skills, so. Alright, into the abilities. So, we're going to go Storm Strike, Enhanced Storm Strike, Fierce Storm Strike. We're then going to go Shred, max that out, Enhanced Shred, and Primal Shred. The reason why we go Primal Shred is, one, because we are going to be critting a decent amount, so that critical strike damage is nice, and two, it gives the second and third attacks dashes, which makes it much easier to proc your aspect of the Blurred Beast, because it is specifically while you're dashing that it detonates. So you need to make sure, this is kind of a mechanical build in a way, where you need to make sure that you're dashing to the target in order to set that bomb off. We're going to go Predatory Instinct. We're going to go the movement speed one. I don't like pronouncing that. I did actually opt to skip this because I actually wanted more defense down here, but I was trying to max this, but I wasn't 100% able to, because you don't have crazy good access to Unstoppable, so having that is really nice. Coming on down here, Earthen Bulwark, Enhanced Earthen Bulwark, and then if you want, you can take Preserving Earthen Bulwark. I didn't, because I was finding I was actually getting enough Fortify. However, it is pretty solid. That being said, now we're going to go to Ancestral Fortitude, Vigilance. We want Blood Howl, Enhanced Blood Howl, and Innate Blood Howl. So this is going to give you a nice little spirit boost. It'll help. So once you use Poison Creeper, you can activate Blood Howl, and then you can go ahead and shred. You should have enough spirit to shred, and it'll be pretty nice. Coming down here, we want to max out Poison Creeper. Then we want Enhanced Poison Creeper, and we want Ferocious Poison Creeper. The reason why we do this instead of the crit, because the crit is tempting, because if you increase your crit, then you're going to be doing more critical strikes, potentially reset it. But the thing is adding an extra 3 seconds onto this. So if you take this off, it says immobilizing them for 3 seconds and poisoning them for 48,000, right? If you take this, though, all of a sudden that goes up to 97,000. So this, by taking this, you're essentially doubling the damage of your Poison Creeper. Here we have Call of the Wild. Your companion skills deal 60% bonus damage, and that is a multiplicative multiplier, so it is really, really good to stack that. That's why I put it on the necklace. Alright, moving on right along. We have Trample, we have Enhanced Trample, and Savage Trample. This is another spirit boost. It also gives you access to Unstoppable. So, you know, having Earthen Bulwark and Trample gives you 2 ways to get Unstoppable. So if you use it correctly, you should be able to break out of most CCs that hit you. On top of the boots as well, you have 3 ways to get Unstoppable. We have Neurotoxin, we have Envenom, and then we have Toxic Claws. So this is going to increase critical strike damage to poison targets. And then this right here is really nice, because whenever you dash, you're going to end up activating your Lupine Ferocity, which every 6 werewolf skill hit critically strikes and deals 60% damage. So you're pretty much guaranteed to at some point crit, and being able to have another way to put poison onto things is really, really nice, because then even if you don't have Poison Creeper up, you just put a huge poison on them, because let's say you crit with Poison Creeper onto like a boss or an elite or something like that. Well, now you have this 23% of the base damage is poisoning damage, and that'll help you, that'll help you do another decent chunk. Nowhere near as big as the Poison Creeper, but it'll still help out a lot once you factor in other poisons and stuff as well. So we have Defensive Posture, increase the amount of Fortify you gain from all sources. Nature's Resolve, 15% chance when struck to fortify you for 4% of your base life. And Unrestrained, reduce the duration of control impairing effects by 6%. Triple this effect while you have Fortify for over 50% of your maximum life. So with this, I would have 18% crowd control reduction as long as I'm fortified. That's another reason why we even take the Fortify. And then for the Keystone Lupine Ferocity, every 6 werewolf skill hit critically strikes and deals 60% 8% increased damage. It is a pretty solid one. You will be proccing this non-stop because every single time you dash, it counts as a hit. So you'll proc this just pretty much every time you shred. If you shred a pack of like five things, you'll most likely proc this like just instantly. That's why another reason why things kind of just get one shot by this build. Okay, alrighty, so for Pentagon, and I'm going to have a link in the description that will have the full tree, but this is what I am doing here. Coming up here, taking Spirit. This is going to increase your critical strike damage and put a damage amp on them every time you crit. Just kind of moving through here, picking up all the damage I can, etc., etc. Next glyph, I'm going to be going Exploit. This is going to increase the vulnerable damage you do, and it also gives you an easier way to apply vulnerability, which is kind of the main reason why I'm taking it, because Storm Strike does apply it, but Exploit will apply it faster. Come up over here, pick up Heightened Malice. This is pretty good. Whenever you have 3 or more poisoned enemies nearby, you deal 45% increased damage. This makes it really good to group up enemies and even like pull elites into packs, so you can poison all of them, and then it'll actually be better than fighting something single target. Ads can actually really help be a damage amp to stuff like that. Next, I am taking Wilds. This is going to increase your companion skill damage by a pretty astronomical amount. It's going to increase the passive damage of your Poison Creeper by a lot, by about 80% once you get this unlocked. It is also going to do 184% companion skill damage. This is currently at level 15, so this actually still has higher to go. But this is going to bump up your Poison Creeper damage, so it's going to make your shreds do quite a bit more. Go ahead and pick up things like core skill damage. Also, still sure not what this is. 360 of 360 intelligence, but yet requirements aren't met. That's who knows what's going on. Small indie company. Yeah, see, but yeah, it's counting here. 360 of 350. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, but then work your way up. Pick up Ancestral Guidance, so you will get a damage buff after spending 75 Spirit. You can pick up this Reclamation as well. I actually really like the Spirit on kill. It's pretty fun. Come up here. We got Hubris, damage reduction from vulnerable enemies, and we're just mainly going this way because it's more efficient to go here because you get to pick these up for free as opposed to just getting some extra nodes here. So go up here, we're going to take Tracker. This is going to increase our damage by 48% to poisoned enemies and make our poisoning damage effects last 33% longer, which again is going to be another Poison Creeper, and it's also going to combine with the extended duration passive we took with Poison Creeper, so you have a lot of synergy there. So that's what I have here so far. I'm only level 87. However, I am going to have a link in the description below so you guys can see the full entire Pentagon board. But after that, you are going to want to go into, I mean, you're not really looking for anything crazy after that. You're probably going to go into Lust for Carnage. I think this would be the last legendary you pick up, just so when you crit, you'll automatically refill your Spirit up. It's pretty nice for that. And then it also has Werewolf skill damage, increased critical strike damage, some attack speed, etc. And then after that, you might have enough points to get a glyph in one of these other ones, but you might just go into like Inner Beast actually, and just pick up like an attack speed glyph or a critical strike node, and then just pick up the glyph socket. Okay, let's go ahead and hop into a dungeon. Oakley dokley then. We are going to be doing some Blind Burrows, Nightmare Tier 36. Why 36? It's because it's going to have level 90 creatures in it, so that's going to be a very optimal experience farming level. Because if you're not aware, after you go about 3 levels higher, you get way diminishing EXP gains. So let's go ahead and hop right into this. Alright, density is amazing, as you can see. And you do not have to hold on to your Blood Howl because you have Temerity on. So when that thing's up, especially if you get something like this, just keep on using it, because if you're at max health, it'll make you a barrier. Yeah, you can see doing a decent amount of damage even without Vine Creeper. And I mean, Vine Creeper's pretty much one-shotting us anyway, so you have a bunch of spiders and such here. Gotta be careful with the poison though. So, whenever you're going up against poison, it's important to like kind of, I don't know, like time your potions and stuff like that. Alright. And one-shot all that. Alright. Cool. Yeah, it is nice having Bloodhowl, because you don't have to use as many potions as you normally would have. And when you're going through these spider ones, you get to reset it real fast. Real fast, okay. And you can see, just immediately one-shotted those elites. That's why it's important to... Oh. Oh. Uh-oh. And this is why we have Unstoppable right here. See? See how I can kind of just cycle my cooldowns when I'm going up against cold there to get out of the affixes? That's what's pretty important. Okay. And there it is. Is that 1.8 million? Not bad. I've seen bigger, I've seen better, but you can see just absolutely one-shotting things, decimating it. Alright. And I don't know if you guys were paying attention in the, whoa. Okay, got a little bit of lag spike there. Alright. I don't know if you were paying attention at the beginning of that video. I actually one-shot a butcher that was it was only 2 levels higher than me, so. But, I mean, one-shotting butcher is still cool, I guess. Alright, hold on. Now, I kind of just walk by things whenever they have the damage amp, or the damage reduction. Because you're not going to be able to really kill them anyway until you kill that thing. It's really unfortunate. Okay, my gosh, look at all this poison. Okay. Pick up this potion, definitely going to need that. Okay. No, go away, spider. Shoo, spider, don't bother me. You have okay damage, even without having Poison Creeper on stuff, but really getting that Poison Creeper damage on there really amps it up. And I still have Paragon I'm missing as well, so... Because I think I'm going to take the Werewolf form glyph that increases your damage while in Werewolf form. I was thinking about taking the Fortified one, but I don't know. Since I'm really only using 1 damage ability, I don't know if it really makes sense. Hold on. Okay. Freaking damage resistance. Screwing me over. It's okay. Alright. Now use barrier to get out of that. Okay, now we set up the big hit. Now we set it up. There it is. Oh my gosh. Okay. There it is, and there I am dead on the ground. That's funny. Yeah, don't stand in explosions, my god. I just blew up way too much there. No matter what you do, you will still die to explosions. And I think I also didn't use my my Bloodhowl there. I'm pretty sure it was up and I just hadn't used it. I could have potentially created a barrier that would have prevented that, but it's also why I like to just play the 3 levels up, because it really helps manage the difficulty. So, really no reason, unless you're just pushing to see how far you can go, there's really no reason to play 3 levels up in my opinion when you're playing solo. Now, if you're playing with people, now that's a different story, because then you can, yes, have a lot more damage, etc., etc. So, and you also get that 10% EXP buff, which I am pretty happy that they removed that, or lowered the EXP buff for groups, because it made it to where it's a lot less punishing to play solo. Alright. Keep killing stuff. See, we got our... Ooh, I just wasted my Poison Creepers. That was not good. Ooh, ooh, man. That is spicy. That is spicy meatball in there. A lot of poison. A lot of poison. Okay, but this is fine. Alright, now we do this. And dead. Alright, now walk out of the explosion. We don't want to do a repeat of what I did before. Pick up your potions. Get rid of all this damn poison. It's just, my gosh. Poison? Why'd it have to be poison? Why did I choose this one? My gosh. Alright. Keep going. Where is this guy at? Probably gonna run into the, oh, there he is. Okay, I was gonna say, I bet I'm gonna run into the event before I run into him. Okay. Alright. Immediately get out of there. Okay, so we don't die this time. Immediately evade out. That spacebar is your best friend. I don't know what it is on controller, but yeah, evading, good stuff. Real good stuff. Okay. Keep on keeping on with it. Travel to Midnight Haven, which I think is up here. Maybe? I don't know. Should be. Oof. Do not know why I just used my trample there. That's okay. Get out of that. And you can also use it to kind of, you know, dash your way forward as well. Alright, do this. Whew. And get out. So, you know, kind of pay attention to, you know, how things are positioned, because you can dash in, kill a group, and then if there's like a straggler over to the left like that, you can just immediately use it to dash out. So you can get out of these really sticky situations. My gosh. This is definitely a more mechanical build than, say, like tornadoes and stuff like that. You gotta be kind of careful. Oof. Ugh, like that. This is why. Okay. Ooh. Alright, get out of that. Oh no! Oh, okay, I didn't die. I think I got really lucky there. If I would have been on any higher of its here, I would have definitely died in that explosion. Okay. Picking stuff up. Keep on going. It's kind of nice how deadly this game can be, though. Alright, travel. Oh wait, we just going straight to the boss? Looks like it. Okay. And dead. Alright. And you can see, bossing is not a problem on this. Hit them, just do a casual half their health on the first hit. Alrighty, well, that's going to be it for this video. Like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you all next time. Thank you for watching.